Hi everyone, welcome to Ghania Calling. Today's story is The Shepherd's Trouble. Let's hear it from Dad.
Once upon a time, there was a shepherd whose primary mode of earning was raising his sheep. He was living in a vicinity where the next door neighbor was a hunter. They were living peacefully until one day the hunter's wild dogs they just managed to cross the fence and cause a lot of damage to the shepherd, of course killing a few sheep also. The shepherd was very disturbed. When he got up in the morning and he realized this damage, he walked up to the hunter and told him about the issue. The hunter was very apologetic and he said, "What I will do is, I will make sure that my two sons, keep these wild dogs inside the house. So if they are not able to come out, they will of course not be able to come into your territory and cause any damage, and that will fix the problem." So it happened. However, next day, to the shepherd's surprise, again the wild dogs had managed to come, again causing a lot of damage to him. So he went back very annoyed to the hunter and spoke to him about the issue. And he said, "Is this how you fix the problem?" The hunter apologized once again and he said, "My sons tell me that there was a window high up which these wild dogs were somehow able to cross. As a result, they were able to come out of the house and again create the nuisance. I will tell them to close all the windows in the house so that they are just not able to escape." The shepherd thought, okay, this will solve the problem, and so did the hunter, and they went back. There was silence for a few days, but again, these wild dogs, they are very intelligent. They managed to escape somehow because the taste of sheep, something drew them very, very strongly. And they again created a lot of ruckus. Now, again, same story. The shepherd went back, spoke to him. The hunter was apologetic. He would think of more and more ways to contain the wild dogs. But the wild dogs were just too smart. They outsmarted him each time. So fed up with this issue, just like all of us who would like to settle issues by talking and amicably, the shepherd was exhausted and he said, okay, I should now go to the judge to get some respite and this issue has to be resolved. Therefore, he went to the court of justice and presented his case before the judge. Now, the judges were very, very powerful people. Either they could do right or they could be highly corrupt because of the absolute powers they wielded. So the judge listened to him carefully and he said, "It's a very genuine case. I can sentence your neighbor and give him punishment. I can also make him repay all the damages that you have incurred. The only problem with this is you will have to live with an enemy in your neighborhood all through your life. This is not something which is really desirable. In the long run, the consequences can be a lot more, which you might not be able to understand now. But then what's the other way out? I have already spoken to him several times and he has tried several ways and means, but nothing worked. I don't think there is another solution that exists, my lord." Well, there is always another solution. We just need to look at it from a different perspective with a calm mind Just like in the boiling water, we cannot see our image clearly. In your disturbed state because of the issues that you have been facing, you are not able to see the solution. Are you open to an alternate solution? The judge asked sternly. Now, since the judges wielded a lot of power and they could sentence anybody and they could pronounce any verdict, the shepherd was a little tensed and he nodded. So he called him and told him, okay, do exactly as I say. His instructions were very brief, but the shepherd was shocked. But, my lord, your honor, and the judge got very angry. He said, you had given me the commitment that you will listen to me. And if you go back on your words, you face my wrath. Which one do you want? No, my lord. No, absolutely not. Not your wrath. I will do as you suggest. So the disappointed shepherd, with a heavy heart and with lot of tension in his mind, he just went. And he recalled what the judges asked him to do. So the next day, he took two of his most favorite, most adorable lambs with him and to the hunter's house. And he knocked at the door. The hunter was agitated and he said, what is it now? The dogs didn't come out. He maintained his calm, the shepherd, and he remembered each word that the judge had told him. He said, gentlemen, in the last few days, I think I have troubled you a lot. I have come to you many a times, creating a lot of tension in your life also, and you have tried every possible way. I just thought, as a gesture, I will gift these two sheep, which are very close to my heart, to you as pets. And I'm sure your two sons will love to have these pets. And as he completed his sentence, he saw that his two sons came jumping in, and they were like very joyful, and they couldn't believe their ears that what is happening. And they were like, Dad, we want the sheep. And the dad was like, just get lost. Let me talk to him. So the hunter was also pleasantly surprised. He thanked him. And the shepherd went back. And as he went back, he could hear the joy from his house. The two sons were really ecstatic to get the lamb. They always wanted the two lambs, keep a few lambs as their pets. So the shepherd went back, but he was still in dismay. He was not really happy. The next morning, when he got up, he was expecting some more nuisance, some more damage, some more sheep being killed. But interestingly, that wasn't the case. He thought it would happen the next day and the next. Couple of days passed by. Each morning he would get up and see around, if my sheep is all well. And he would find everything to be in order. And in fact, one day, just after a week or so, he was pleasantly surprised that in the hunter's home, there was a huge cage built where all the wild dogs were kept, and they were secured there, and there was no way they could come out of there. Now the issue was completely resolved. Now what happened? So if we see in today's world, it is rightly said, especially in the corporate world, they will say, if you are not a part of the solution, you are a part of the problem. Might sound very stupid at first, but think through it. What happened? The shepherd, although he was a victim and he suffered, but he was a part of the problem, as if he was going with the issues. Now he went back with a solution. What was the solution? The judge was very wise. He knew that having a neighbor who is your enemy can never lead to a peaceful life for you. this will lead to more litigations, more issues in future. So he suggested that give the 2 lambs to the hunter. Now what happens when the hunter has lambs in his house, right, as pets? The wild dogs will definitely want to have a feast on them. But now it was very close to his son's heart. As a result, they tried to keep the dogs away. But then they realized it's not a very sustainable solution. In the same house, you cannot have these wild dogs and sheep, no matter how much you try to convince and coax the wild dogs. As a result, when they realized that this is the problem, they finally built up a strong cage for them, from which they just couldn't come out. And the hunter would just take them out while going for hunting. So therefore, now that the shepherd became a part of the solution and these people became a part of the problem, they realized what the pain the other person was going through. And they came up with a solution. Now, the hunter was so taken aback that his sons were extremely happy with these 2 pets. So, when he would get the fresh kills, he would offer it to the shepherd as a gesture in return to what he had done. And they both would be very happy and have a feast, and they both were in peace. Now, at first, if we look at it, it doesn't look like that there was such a simple solution to this problem. We normally, as a human tendency, try to fight fire with fire. As soon as we think that, okay, somebody is going to attack us, our defense system goes up, we are alert, we are ready to attack, and sometimes even ready for a preemptive attack. But fighting fire with fire can only create havoc. It can only create damage for everybody, including ourselves. Now, if we see, the shepherd was very lucky to find a judge who can really think of a wise solution and settle the issue. Now, interestingly, this same solution cannot be applied in all our lives and in all our problems. But what we can think of is that alternatives exist. Fighting fire with fire or just trying to take revenge on others is not something that will lead to solutions. We need to think in a way that how do we get a win-win situation like in this case. So not only the shepherd got some fresh kills, but the hunter also compensated him well. The normal mindset that, okay, the other person must lose if I have to win is not the solution that is an ideal scenario. It will lead to some conflict and more of animosity going forward. But this solution, this mindset of, okay, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, that will lead us to more fulfillment and a harmonious life, surroundings, and people around us. We need to think solutions always exist. Do we want to dig down deep and think of it just like the judge did, or we want to fight fire with fire?
What I learned from the story is there's no such problem in the world where there is no solution. What we have to do is find one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share our channel, and do leave your comments.